All right, we're up. This is Our Town with Troy by North Alabama's podcast. Marie Waxel. Is that pronounced correctly, Waxel?
Yes, you did. Yep.
Is that German, by the way?
No, I don't know. We didn't trace the roots, no.
I'll take that as an action to look that up.
Yeah.
Maria Waxel is here from Channel 31, WAAY-31.
Yep.
WAAY. I think as I told you when you met my wife coming in, we heard you MC the Heart Ball maybe 2 or 3 years ago. And I guess I just noticed, because I kind of just reached out to you. You know, I saw you MC the event. At one point, Matt Kroschel, I don't know if you remember him.
Yeah.
He'd been on my show. I reached out to him like episode 9. That's when I really had to like chase guests down.
Okay.
But I was like, you know, I see Marie very active on LinkedIn and social media, and I just enjoy TV production and podcast production and radio. And I just thought, I'll just reach out to her at some point and see if she wants to come on. So I appreciate you being here.
Happy to do it. I was excited when I saw your name pop up. I was like, oh man, he wants me to be a guest too. So.
Yeah. And I used to be invited to more podcasts, I guess, before I went on sabbatical. So maybe it's just taking time for people to realize I'm back, but hopefully it's a good feeling for you to maybe just kind of sit here and not think about the show that's going on and the people talking into your ear and whatnot. Hopefully it's just relaxing for you.
No, I'm excited to be here. I'll use that word.
Yeah, excited. Well, you know what? It's also like I was thinking about, and I think I've touched on this a little bit, where it's just like somewhat therapeutic for me. I enjoy when the guest writes back to this. I have the same questions I ask all my guests, and it's very interesting how each guest responds. And yours was awesome. It was very informative. I'm interviewing Seth Burton, who's running for Senate on Monday.
Okay.
And he sent me, it was interesting because his ended up being like in an Excel spreadsheet. And I'm like reading the answers in the columns, which is it's fine, right? Like and some people will reply and retype all the questions. And some people will just, reply and put it in, kind of, paste in their answer where I put the questions. I was kind of like that. How as humans, we approach things differently.
Yep.
And I will say one thing that's similar, and we'll get to this later, one of your vacation spots that you enjoy is St. John's in the Virgin Islands.
Yes.
His is St. Thomas in the Virgin Islands.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And the way you guys abbreviated it was like exactly the same.
That's awesome. So he is a regular for sure.
I think so. And you try to go once a year, right?
Yep.
To St. John's?
Love it. Yes. Yeah.
I think I've been there. I think we went there on a cruise. We went out of Puerto Rico. We might have gone through St. John's like right when it opened up after the hurricane, like 5 years ago or something.
It would have been 2017,
Oh my gosh, was it that long ago?
Irma Maria.
Yeah, or 2018, 2019.
Probably, yep. No, that was, it was pretty much deserted until early 2018.
Yeah, because we went for our 20th anniversary.
Oh, nice.
And, but it's already 2026. Like, oh my gosh, that was 8 years ago?
Yes.
But yeah, we were like the first ship out of Puerto Rico
after
they reopened. And,
very cool.
So, oh my gosh. So you are from South Carolina originally. And I'm not familiar. I'm certainly familiar with Hilton Head.
Okay.
And that's where you were born. How many years did you spend there?
Oh gosh, graduated high school there.
Oh, so
all
you
my
were
life.
there. Okay. So then Newberry is where you went to college. And where's that located?
So Columbia, South Carolina, 2.5 hours from Hilton Head, northwest. Well, I mean, center, just north of the center of the state. So just north of Columbia.
Okay.
Yep.
So yeah, you saw Hilton Head the whole time. How was that?
Oh, everyone is always excited to think, the heritage and all the stuff that you associate Hilton Head with. But to me, it was, you grew up here. I don't think you really appreciated it until you left. But I didn't live on Hilton Head, right? We lived in Bluffton. And as kids growing up, right, you had your Hilton Head kids, you had your Bluffton kids. Everyone went to the same high school. Now there's all different kinds of schools. And, they don't have to go to Hilton Head to go to high school or middle school or anything like that. But we had horses growing up, so it's not exactly the Hilton Head that people think about, right? There was a little bit of everything. You had the beach life and you had the kind of the country life, and I had the best of both worlds.
So is it kind of like the proverbial other side of the tracks thing, like on the other side of the bridge? Were you divided by water?
Yeah,
between
absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
So you're on an island, of course.
Yep.
I just wasn't sure how, like, sometimes it's not till you get into the air that you realize, oh my gosh, like I fly into DC like every week. And lately we've been taking a different route as we go into like DC, Maryland. And I've never really seen that part. And I'm like, I didn't realize that was that.
Yeah. Normally they fly you up along the river there.
Yeah. Well, they do. And what they'll, this is just different where because I fly enough where even on the way back to Huntsville, they're taking different routes, which is fine, wind patterns. But this is definitely different where normally, to your point, you'll come in like over Tyson's Corner and then you'll go by Georgetown and you'll come on the river and you'll land. But I fly at night a lot, so it's hard to tell.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sure if I flew over Hilton Head, I'll be like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Like,
there's the shoe that they all talk about.
Yeah.
It looks like it.
So is there good, does everyone get along there? Is there like fights and like, is there like is a stigma or are they uppity like over in Hilton Head?
I guess growing up, you're kids. And so what did you have? Yeah, it was Hilton Head kids had the money.
Yeah.
Bluffton kids, maybe not necessarily, but I don't even think it was just that dividing line, right? So we were going to their turf.
Yeah.
And so automatically you're coming into our area. But really everyone got along though. It was nice. What was hard was, we're separated in elementary schools, middle schools, we got together. My class was the class that they split us up. So then we were in, I want to say 8th grade, 7th grade, and we were out in trailers. So then the Hilton Head kids got to stay inside the classrooms. We got moved out to the mobile trailers. So there you go. Now you're starting to see the dividing lines, and then we're back together at high school. And
interesting.
Yeah. So it was fun. It was different.
Someone made a conscious decision to do that at some point, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they did. Start it all out, but I mean, we were 4A. Now I think they've been busted down to 2A maybe.
Oh, really?
And everyone's, oh, well, Hilton Head, there's so much to do there. We spent a lot of time in Charleston. We spent a lot of time in Savannah, Georgia too. You're right smack dab in the middle. So the 4A schools, we were playing, Fort Dorchester, going up West Ashley, North Charleston, playing all those teams. So football, basketball, anything like that. You're driving an hour and a half to get up there for your games and your tournaments and stuff.
Do you get like defensive? Let's say someone came to visit or those, like kind of like you said, like no matter where you grow up, I grew up in Washington, D.C. For the field trips, like I relied on field trips every year to go see like everything. So I never really did it again. Like it's not like on the weekend we said, hey, let's go back and look at the Arlington National Cemetery. Like, I did that in 5th grade. Hold on one second. Been there, done that. Oh, it's the wrong one. So when people come to Hilton Head, do you get defensive when they're like, there's nothing to do here? And then you're like, well, what is it you want to do?
Yeah, no, I guess we always stayed busy.
Yeah.
Right. We never had the opportunity to say there was nothing to do. I don't get offended to that because if you're going to Hilton Head, there is something. It's the beach that you're there for, or it's golf, or it's something, or they're playing tennis, or there's some kind of connection to it. I mean, tourists come in all the time. You knew that you could haggle and hassle them, harass them, whatever. But no, I don't. It was so long ago too. I haven't been back in years.
Gotcha.
But it was a great place to grow up. We had the best of everything. I had the beach, and then I didn't have the beach. And I remember there were weekends and stuff, and during the week, during the summer, my mom would take us down to the beach, and we go and spend a day at the beach, or then you turn around and you just stay at the pool at home. And like I think I told you when I answered the question, we had horses growing up, so then that kept us busy and kept us out of trouble with that. But I mean, people know Hilton Head for the golf, for the beach and stuff, and that's what it is, and that's why they're there.
And there's a lot of trails, right? Like where they're riding bikes or golf carts and stuff around there.
Yeah, they have the little plantations. You got Sea Pines Plantation, Hilton Head Plantation, all of those. I mean, to me, it was just, okay, yeah, that's something new.
Sure. How many miles were you from the beach?
Oh gosh, I mean, I'm trying to think. The closest we lived was just before the bridge to cross over, and that was where I was born until about 8 years old. So, I mean, a 30-minute drive.
Okay.
I mean, that's
so
traffic and everything. No, it's not like you walked right out on the beach, and then we moved further out, and then you're looking about an hour drive or so. But that was traffic. I mean, when I was there, this big road, 278, 2 lanes in, 2 lanes out. My parents used to joke around about the changing of the guard, right? On Saturdays, you knew the traffic going into town, it was going to be really thick and heavy, and vice versa, people trying to leave town. Now, I think that's expanded, right? That's 4 lanes each direction. There was the Cross Island Expressway or Parkway. I don't even remember. That was created I remember watching them build that, and I thought, why do you need that? And then, everyone uses that now. Hop from one end to the other.
So horses, any other animals on the farm or the property?
Well, we had horses, we had goats, we had a pig, and we had a pig in the house.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That lived there?
That lived in the house like a dog. So before we had a dog, we had a pig. His name was Buddy. Wow. I know my mom's probably going to listen to this and love this. It was show and tell. He came to school with us. So randomly, they were like our adopted grandparents, so to speak, right? So I guess I'll give you the backstory real quick. So
Sure.
My parents moved from Western New York, South Carolina, given an opportunity to work for this couple. They ended up helping my parents, a young married couple, get on their feet, and they just really helped guide them through life. Obviously, naturally, we were born. They kind of adopted us, and we consider them our adopted grandparents. So we always my brother and I like to say, hey, we grew up with 3 sets of grandparents. And so they were always there for everything with us. We ended up moving next door to them out in Pritchardville in the countryside, and had horses. They were the ones that got us into all those animals. And one day they had the bright idea and the woman is who I'm named after, Marie.
Oh,
so,
wow.
I got the idea. She saw or read something somewhere that Vietnamese potbelly pigs are great in the house. You can train them. Okay. Convinced my mom that was going to happen, that they were going to train a pig in the house. And Mom, oh no, I don't think so. Worried about what my dad's going to say. Well, we called him Papa. He goes out there and he grabs the runt and, gives it to my grandmother, and that's hers. And that's who she's going to raise. And then he looks at my brother and I and says, which one do you want? And of course, my brother and I picked 2 different ones. He laughs, whichever one he could grab on, just a little itty bitty thing. And I will never forget, we were on the golf cart riding across the property to my parents' house. Mm-hmm. My dad was gone. Mom was there. Okay, go tell your mom what we have. And I thought there's no way she's going to let us keep him. And he knew she was not going to say yes until he has this little baby pig, shoves it in her arms. And there's my brother and I going, can we keep him? Can we keep him?
Wow.
So yeah, we put him in a bottle fed him, put him in a little pack and play, playpen now. And that's how he was raised. And then my brother and I would take him into show and tell. My mom was affectionately known as the pig lady growing up through elementary school with all of that.
How old was the pig when you owned him?
So baby.
So were you bottle feeding the pig or anything?
Yeah.
Really?
Yep. Did the bottle feeding, could teach him how to sit.
Wow.
There's a picture that we are in our family room and Buddy is in the middle of my brother and I, and we're in sleeping bags just laying around. And it was, we showed my son that now, and he just couldn't get over the fact that there was a pig in between Mom and Uncle Andy.
A Vietnamese potbelly.
A Vietnamese potbelly.
So how big do they get?
He got pretty big. He was not a miniature one. He was, 250 pounds. 200 pounds.
Wow.
He was a stout boy. He was huge. But he was house trained, easy to house train.
Had it like a litter box or something?
That's how we did it at first. And then train him like a dog. And he would go to the door when he wanted to go out, stayed in the house with us. And then we got the dog. And then he didn't want anything to do with the dog. So he kind of moved himself out to the barn after that.
Wow.
So.
And how long did he die?
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
He did. Yeah, just old. He just got so old he couldn't move and, couldn't see and everything. And life runs its course. And yeah.
Now, I'm only going to mention this because Christy Finley was just and she was talking about her pig named Wilbur.
Okay.
But the grandma, she was like, one day I come home and where's Wilbur? And she's making bacon. They ate Wilbur. Did you eat Buddy?
We did not eat Buddy. We did not. No.
All right. Maybe.
I'd admit it if we did, but we did not. No.
That's fine.
They say that they're too fat. They're too fatty. They don't have good meat to eat. I don't know. Whoever goes through, I'm not that. I love bacon, but I'm not a pig connoisseur to that level, so couldn't tell you.
Yeah, that's funny. Oh man, that would be hard. I don't think I could do it.
Yeah.
If I had a pet and it's just slept near you and all that, it's like cannibalism, right?
Yeah,
it's like eating your brother. Yeah. Did they? Oh wow! I didn't think about. We would talk about pigs.
I know. Here
what
we are.
Vietnamese potbelly?
Yeah.
I have to look that up later. Obviously, I would have if I had my computer thing.
No,
I'd bring
good.
it up. So good upbringing.
Yeah. Yep.
Did you have to get up early and do chores? And did you have a work ethic instilled in you in Bluffton?
Yeah. So my parents were just very much we blame them to this day. My brother and I, it's funny because anytime that we work these extra hours or we get frustrated with something, there's probably not a week that goes by that my brother and I don't call my parents and say, you did this to us, right? My dad and my mom always, they preached, always do your best. Mm-hmm. No matter what happens, but then get in there, get it done, right? You work 8+ hours a day. Mm-hmm. Why drag it out? If you have a task at hand, get in there, do it now. You'll have time to do whatever else you want afterwards. The same thing, homework, get it done on that Friday night. Don't wait until Sunday night to do it. There were no leniences with that. It's get it done. And then you've got the rest of the free time to have fun and it doesn't linger over you. And so that's kind of what we do. Now as adults, you'll see something will happen and we just jump right on it. Yeah. The lawn needs to be mowed now. And my husband's like, okay, I'll get to it. No. Now. Yeah. Let's do it.
Now, where does your brother live?
He's just east of Nashville in Watertown.
So not too far away.
Nope. Yep.
And you guys still have a good relationship and sounds like
2 years, 2 months to the day apart. So
I got to tell you, Nashville's traffic. I know people complain about Huntsville traffic. I don't know what their plans are, but they got to figure something out up there.
It is terrible.
Like we just went up there. I travel a lot, so cashed in some hotel points. Stayed at the Grand Hyatt on Broadway. I'd never really been to Nashville. It was awesome, but man, I was so frustrated driving there, and then like driving back. Like we drove back on like a Sunday like a Saturday at like 2:00 in the afternoon. Like, oh my gosh, it was just as bad as it was yesterday. Yep. And I don't know what's going on with June Lake Boulevard when you're heading up 65. Like that's where it starts. Yeah. And you're like, was there an accident? Like, what is the deal? And
you think you're already there and you're not. And you still have, 30 plus minutes to go.
It's really cool the way I really like how I tried to appreciate the pedestrian bridge that goes over the river into like Titan Stadium and then you can walk to Broadway. It's just, it's well thought out. But man, I'm like, once I'm there, I'm fine. But man, I was like the traffic.
Oh yeah. Getting in and getting out. You're just, let me park the car and be mobile that way.
Yeah. Do you go up there a lot to Nashville?
No, not as much as we used to. I'll go up to my brother's house, but he's east of it. So we don't really have to deal with that headache. He's got 2 kids now. And so let the kids get together and
Roger that.
Play.
Okay. So Newberry,
yep.
What did you major in?
So communications, and I had a minor in psychology too. Okay. Yeah. A lot of fun. Small D2 school. I very much like UNA, but just on the private side.
And you got a scholarship for cheerleading?
I did.
How do you like qualify for that?
So you tried out for the team like anything else.
Okay.
And it covered, I got $1,000 scholarship. I know it probably doesn't seem like much now, but back then that was a lot. I didn't think you could get an actual scholarship for it. But it was fun. It was something that I enjoyed doing. It was the first competitive cheer team that we had. And to see it evolve into what it is, I didn't tumble. I couldn't tumble. I still can't. I think I can.
Oh, so this was a brand new program.
So this was, So they had cheerleaders, but this was the first time they were going into the competition side of things.
I gotcha.
And so, it was fun. And to see it grow into this incredible program that it is now. And now it's co-ed, and then there's different squads within that. You've got your competition and then your regular game squad and all that. So,
and you started cheering when you were for youth sports, right?
Yeah. Little league. I want to say around 7.
Just football?
Football. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then when you were in high school, was it football and basketball?
Yep.
Okay. And then was there I don't know if they have drill teams anymore. Did you do any like choreographed dances and stuff as part of cheerleading as an extension of it?
Well, no, it was all kind of together. It was competitive, growing up. So you would have your state competitions and stuff like that. Once you were in school, middle school, high school, bragging rights, your 4A, just the state designated competitions, but I didn't do anything one-off from that. It was pretty much cheer. I started at 3 doing dance.
Oh, wow.
And so that was, I guess, kind of my into that.
Because your mom wanted you to, or because you wanted to?
She just signed me up for it. I enjoyed it. I did that probably until I was about 9. And then it was, I like cheerleading a little bit more. I liked football, raised in a football family. My brother played, obviously. And I was always that cheerleader, one of the few on the sidelines that would turn around and watch the game and actually know what was happening instead of waiting for somebody to tell us, oh, your offense or your defense. I could follow along and know just enough to be dangerous. So,
did you cheer for the Gamecocks or like Clemson? Or what?
No.
Who's your team?
No, I'm a Georgia fan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go
so
Dogs.
Because growing up in South Carolina is very much like Alabama, you have to choose one or the other. And I thought, nope, I have no alliances either way. Savannah was where Uggo was born, and you can trace his lineage back to that. And then, full disclosure, I had a crush on David Green and David Pollock when they played together. So,
yeah.
Yep.
David Pollock's still a good looking guy.
He is still a good looking guy. I think David Green's selling insurance somewhere. Who knows what he's doing?
So do you have to kind of keep that under wraps here in Huntsville? You're like when the Alabama loses to Georgia or Georgia wins it all, you're like, yeah.
There's enough Georgia fans that support you around here that it's good. Yeah.
Okay. But it's probably better. I guess you got to know your audience, right?
Yes, absolutely. I was in church one of the first times when I moved to Alabama. I didn't think it was that deep, the rivalry, until I was in church and somebody turned around and hit me with a Roll Tide. And I thought, oh my gosh, I have arrived.
So, okay, let's also package in here. So communications, journalism, were you on like the newspaper staff, or like when did writing or reporting and stuff kind of be of interest to you?
Okay. So, I'll back it up just a little bit. So it was a week after my 13th birthday. We had a house fire. So living that country life where we grew up. And so my parents had to start over. My brother and I watched my parents start over with 2 preteens, right? Lost everything. Thankfully, nobody was hurt. And so that was a pretty pivotal moment in our lives.
Yeah.
And so I remember being out there. You remember bits and pieces of the day. I can put myself out there on the spot, but I remember someone coming up to my parents. This is just after we all kind of united after everything. Because of course we were on our way back from church, and my dad got to the house. Anyways,
it was a Sunday.
there. It was a Sunday.
Oh my goodness.
And so we had just, all 4 of us got together, and somebody came up and they had asked my parents. There was a newspaper reporter if my parents wanted to talk. And I remember in the back of my mind, I thought, how rude, right? I'm 13 years old. This is the worst day of their life, arguably at this point. And they want some kind of statement. And then I remember that person getting agitated, and there are a lot of emotions going on. And so I always filed that in the back of my head. And I thought, how can somebody just ask someone for a statement, right? Growing up, I was never afraid to speak out, public speaking and anything like that. I would do it. And I was familiar with, quotes in the paper and just kind of understanding, right? Morning announcements, what it's like. So having that in the back of my mind always kind of stuck there and stuck with me. And then 9/11 happened. And like most people, I found myself drawn to the TV and trying to understand what's going on. And I was drawn to the newscast, right? Anything that NBC put out, anything that CBS, ABC, you're watching the latest updates. And for me, I felt like that was, okay, this is my generation's whatever this is going to be. I didn't quite know what I was watching, but I knew that whatever was happening, I was getting the truth from them, or they were showing something.
Was the fire the same year, 01?
No. So the fire was in 98.
Okay. So 3 years later.
Yep.
Okay.
And then, the fire was in 98. Yeah. Not a long time. Then the 01. And, I was kind of on the fence about what I wanted to do. I thought I wanted to be a teacher. After watching all of those interviews and watching just, they made you feel something, right? You would either get angry or happy, and then just that emotional connection. And I thought I could do that. Yeah, maybe I should look into that. And a lot of people said, no, you can't do that. You have to look a certain way. There's all this glamorous side to it. And I thought, no, I can do that. And so the more that I heard people say, no, you can't, the more it just kind of fired me up. And of course, my parents supported me, and they said, yeah, do whatever you want to do. And then I get to Newberry, and then they have their communications program, and they have a TV studio, a little in-house thing. And the more I got to learn and the more we really dug into it, I thought, this is for me. I had 2 internships, and I knew immediately this is the place where I need to be.
But going into Newberry, you were going to major in something different, or it was communications, but you weren't really sure what you were stepping into?
Yeah. Okay. So it was communications. And I think at the end of my first semester, I thought maybe it really needs to be education, because a lot of my friends were education majors and it just seemed fun. And then I thought, no, you're drawn to this, give it a chance. I got to try out to anchor one of the upperclassmen's, one of their shows. They selected me to be that anchor. And I thought, oh, wow, this is really cool. I'm still friends with them to this day. And I was like, oh, okay. They give me scripts, and it's a great job. And so they let me get my feet wet down there. And that's when I was like, yeah, I made the right decision. I need to be here. There's something here. I can't explain it.
Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking about this, or I went on a run right before, about 2 hours before you came. Cause I just, when I exercise and stuff, it just helps me like just think. And maybe, I don't know the science behind it. Right. But like my endorphins are going off, and like, there's the creative element, or I'll think of questions that I didn't think of before, right. While I'm exercising. But I was thinking about the news, and I think I've talked about this before, but like on one hand, I've always liked the local news, certainly before cable television, but since then, because it was more objective. Like I really didn't want to know. I didn't really care who they voted for.
Right.
I didn't really realize till later how much I don't like kind of that misleading headline or like that person's little jab, and like, just tell me the news in a way. Right. And then let me kind of decide. But I think of all the things I've lived through. 9/11 was one, because we were married and living in, we were about to move to our first home, like townhome that we bought. We were like 2 weeks away. And all you wanted to do was just go home and watch the news.
Yeah.
And you can't, I'm one of those, I can't consume enough of it. And I'm so thankful, like in a way, for them, because it's like, it's making me feel better that they're bringing me the latest.
Yep.
Or that reporter that's on the ground somewhere, maybe like right now with like the Iran stuff. Who's that person that's over there at 2 or 3 in the morning to bring us the latest?
Yep.
Or the DC sniper, which was crazy in 2002. And like, we were all scared to go get gas because you might be the next one to get gunned down.
Yep.
But you would watch the news and, and wait for the press conferences and stuff. And there's just always been something that's just so like, you need it. When like it makes us feel better. It makes us do whatever, it moves you. So at Newberry, did you get a chance? So it sounds like you did some anchoring, but you did some reporting. Can you kind of like just kind of talk through the curriculum that they worked you through?
Yeah. So a lot of it is just the theories behind it, right?
Yeah.
It was such a small program then. It's evolved since, but it was, you go into your intro to communications and what is it and what do you do? And then you really start diving into media law and ethics. And to me, that was my favorite class. We read the book cover to cover, and it was all of it. It just walks you through different scenarios. The way the professor taught it, we actually had to argue a case for and against at the end of it. And we had this long paper that was due. And, we studied different stuff. We studied How to Catch a Predator, and all these different shows. Is that
from Dateline
morally and ethically correct? I mean, and just the debates that come with it. You'd be surprised. But so that's what Newberry gave me. Newberry gave me my basis to understand, okay, this is why it's important. Why is journalism important? This is why journalism is important. They gave me a studio to practice, to kind of test things, camera kits. But it wasn't until, just with this industry, it's not until you get into your internship or you get into the role that you really start learning. It is such a self-driven, self-dedicated industry. Nothing is ever going to be handed to you.
Yeah.
And even to this day, nothing is going to be handed to you. Now, there are some kids that get out and they are just natural, right? They don't really have to work very hard. I've seen them. I've worked alongside them. But man, I have put in some hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those of us, and you just care. And you can't quite explain why. You just do.
Did you know then that you wanted to be like behind the camera, like in front of the camera, and behind a desk and reporting the news? That was clear? Yeah.
So I was, it would have been my first internship was with SCE-TV, and that was a lot of fun. So it was, looking at public television, and a lot of those folks were telling you about the glory days, right? When they actually had a broadcast and they were chasing scanners and beat calls and all this fun stuff. And I learned a lot from them. I learned, how to put together a package and how to edit, and got to cover, what did we cover? The Beaufort, the water festival down there. And so that was a lot of fun. I got to meet, my first celebrity. Josh Turner was the first one that I got to meet. And so I thought that summer, I was riding high on the horse. You couldn't touch me. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. The next year I got to intern with WIS out of Columbia, South Carolina. Craig Melvin, the big claim to fame there, he was an anchor when I was an intern there. Okay. And instantly I knew within the first couple weeks that this is where I'm supposed to be. I was out on a story, Maggie, and I follow her on LinkedIn. She'd kill me. I can't even think of her last name right now. But Maggie and Stephen Hooker, the photographer and the reporter I was with, and we were out covering. It was breaking news. It was a terrible story, and I thought, this is so thrilling. With the gunman was not located yet, but we were going to hear and hear and hear, and just the adrenaline rush. But then knowing that we had to track down information to share it, and you could just see the story starting to tell itself. Okay, where were you? What we call now process storytelling. Okay, we went here to look for somebody to talk to them, but neighbors told us this and that. And so it was really that story that kind of stuck out. And I thought, yeah, I'm not scared. I can do this. People are going to say no, but so what? Somebody says no, I'll ask again. I'll ask someone else.
Yeah. What about like on the investigative journal side? Is that something also that you guys delved into?
Not really in school. No.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is just learning, and then whatever company you're with,
Sure.
right, what their practices are, and really kind of you conform to what their visions are when it comes to, okay, are you going to be that one that has this undercover camera? I never bought, and there's nothing wrong with it. And there's been some great work and some great folks and issues exposed. I've never been a fan of the getcha gotcha type journalism. That's just not who I am. If I have a tough question, I'm going to ask you the tough question point blank.
Yeah.
And I'm going to trust you to give me the right answer. And it's like, don't make me dig harder.
Yeah.
Don't make me FOIA anything. But
go ahead. Ask me a tough question.
I know. I don't know. What do you want? I know.
So I want to give you props on something. I was just checking out some of your clips, right, that are posted, and I'm not sure if they were a part of the full segment or not, but you mentioned To Catch a Predator, and that guy. I don't know if you ever hear Bill Hader like imitate him, the guy from SNL, the Chris Hansen guy, and like really, whoa,
he walks in the room, everyone should go, uh oh.
Yeah, it's just, but there's something about how you narrate something, and it's, the inflection and whatever, and not everybody can do it. Not everybody, like, the voice is so important to match the compelling nature of what's being covered. And I wish I had it, but you're narrating something and I'm like, oh, that's good. Like Marie, like when I watch these crime shows or whatever, and you need that person who's narrating to be like, it's like theatrical sometimes. I'm like, oh man, like it's props to you.
Oh,
like you got it. And so I don't, not to say it's, hey, you got a future in this, right? This is what you do. But like, you're very good at, I'm sure, even if you wanted to do an audiobook and narrate, but like, I was just really impressed because there's a way that you pause and there's a way that you and it's hard for me. Like, I feel like I'm like, who Rick Rubin is, he's a music guy, like producer, and he's like a big hippie looking dude.
Okay.
And he's helped every band ever to hit like platinum, like Eminem, like Slipknot. Like he'll do anything.
Nice.
And he just listens, and he doesn't know how to play instruments, but he'll listen and be like, that's not good. Try this, try that. And then eventually be like, yeah, that's it. And it's, sometimes it's just, I feel like I'm kind of like that. Like, no, it's not that. Yep. That's it. And Marie has it. Cause I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm watching like Dateline. Thanks. Or I feel like I'm watching some show where you need that person who really knows how to like narrate something. Right. And cause is that something you've really consciously had to work on as far as?
I think it's twofold. So in college, I did have a voice and diction class. The professor was great, theater guy. It was a lot of fun because for any kind of test that we had to do, we had to create our own script. So of course, me being the nerd that I was, I'd bring my broadcast script and I would put a really tough news story and then I'd put a nice lighthearted one. And so it was just, turning the page essentially. Okay, flipping now to something happy and going from something very serious. So that is something you have to be very conscious about. But also just respecting the pause. I learned from my first station, one of the anchors there, she said, never rush a pause, right? A period is there for a reason. Take a breath. If you're asking someone a question, take a moment, let them answer, or don't just jump into the next question. They're going to share something. A lot of people are uncomfortable with the silence that's there. And that's where you get a lot of the emotions and it can really hit something home. But that and then caring, I think you'll notice at least for those who really know me, they can tell if I am really passionate about something and if I'm not. And it's in the delivery, and it shows in the delivery.
Yeah.
And I've been very fortunate to care and to do a lot of passion projects, at least at this point in my career. And so it's easy to me. I don't have to think about it. And if anything, I go back and I think, oh gosh, that was too emotional. Let me back up a little bit, because I do get too invested sometimes in some stories, and it just consumes you because like you want to do such a good job. And you want them to be proud of whatever that product is.
Yeah.
So.
Let's do, if you don't mind, I'm going to slide this book over to you. I want you to read this like 3 different ways.
Okay.
As if you were like going to promote it or something.
Right,
Does that make sense? Like the title, subtitle, and all that.
Okay.
Why don't you read it through once without any sort of like, just so people
basic.
what it is. Yeah.
Okay. People are going to give me a hard time. I was accused of having a news voice, right?
Hey.
And they say, hey, my best friend will tell you to this day, I can tell when you're at work and when you're not at work, the way you say hello on the phone. I'm like, I don't think so. But yeah, so you are bringing that to light.
You do you. You don't want to do how you want to do
Let me be me.
Yeah.
Okay, so tradecraft, tactics, and dirty tricks. Russian intelligence and Putin's secret war.
Okay.
Okay. We can do a little more hard hitting. Tradecraft, tactics, and dirty tricks. Russian intelligence and Putin's secret war. Let's see. I know we should probably have another book to do this. Let's do Tradecraft, Tactics, and Dirty Tricks, Russian Intelligence, and the Putin's Secret War. I added a "the" in there.
Well, that's almost like that's coming up at 8. Yeah. Like that's kind of what you're leading to, right? Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, no.
Isn't it funny how like different it can be?
Yeah, you don't really, you can do it. Yeah. Back in the day when you marked scripts, before we had iPads to do everything, the anchors would do smiley face or frown face, or they would do just a straight line. And it would just kind of be a visual aid to remind them, okay, hey, you've got to switch your emotions and turn on a dime like that.
Yeah.
So,
I've got this other book in front of me from Joe Carlucci from Valentina. He's like, hey, I want you to do the audiobook. And so I was kind of like trying to pretend like I was starting to like, okay, let's put this in the mode. I was practicing. I'm like, man, this is hard.
Yeah. And
talk about editing. Like that would be a lot of editing to edit an audio thing. For not only just to like remove all of the and whatever you might do, but like just trying to be consistent.
Yeah.
When reading can tire you. And then, and it's crazy. Like, I think I can sometimes tell in an audiobook when they clearly have like taken a break for the day and then they come back the next day and like, it just takes a little while for that person to kind of slip into like their normal tone. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. I can't really do audiobooks. My husband loves them. There was one I tried to listen to, Lou Diamond Phillips.
Oh yeah.
Narrated it. It was great, but I couldn't focus on the fact that
it wasn't,
it was him,
Lou Diamond Phillips.
But I didn't let my mind travel into the book.
Yeah.
So
let's talk about your first job.
Okay.
So you did the internships, you graduate, and what happens?
Yeah. Well, I thought I sent out 50 plus tapes, DVDs, labeled, spent a ton of money as a broke college kid, printed out my resume, sending them out, snail mail, trying to get a bite on something. Nothing. I thought, oh my gosh, I am going to walk across this stage and not have a job. And so many of my friends have already accepted jobs. So I kind of felt like a failure.
In TV?
Yeah. Well, in TV and then just in other industries, right? They knew what they were doing. They were going off to get their graduate degree or do something else. And hey, give me a job, please. I'll do anything. I was willing to be a janitor if that meant I could get in the door.
Yeah.
So yeah, I sent a bunch of tapes out, moved back in with my parents. Really hard to do when you're used to being out on your own, but it was fine. So spent about 6 months down in Florida. At this point, they had moved to Florida. So spent 6 months with them. And I just remember looking at them and I said, I'm just going to buy a one-way ticket. If I don't have a job by the end of the year, I'm going to buy a one-way ticket. And I'm going to just go to some island somewhere and bartend or do whatever. And then that's going to be my life, right?
Wow.
I go through some interviews and try and I think I'd get a bite and then nothing. Stephanie Ramos, who's now on ABC, she was there at one of my internships. She was a great mentor to me, just encouraging me to keep on it. She tried to help me get into the Page program. I didn't have a place to stay up in New York City. So I was like, okay, well, that's out the door. But she was just incredible. And to see her success on the national network and the national spotlight is really fun to say, man, she is just as nice off camera as she is on camera. But finally, I got a phone call from Greenville, South Carolina, the WHNS, the Fox Carolina, the Fox affiliate there. They wanted to talk to me. And at this point, I'm going, whatever you want me to do. Again, I will mop floors. I will get coffee. I will run scripts. Just get me in the door and let me prove to you that I can do this job. Brought me in, and I was hired as a writer and an associate producer. I don't think we even have those positions anymore, but it's one step above a janitor. You know? So yeah, I learned. I worked weekends. It was great. And then when I wasn't working my job, I would haggle with the photographers that were there and my friends and say, hey, can you stay late? I'll buy you XYZ if you can help me shoot this, or you can teach me how to do this, and would just practice. And so I constantly went on, and next thing you know, I was promoted to producer. We had somebody leave, and so I picked up weekend producing, still had this itch to be on camera, still worked on my craft, would give it to my boss and say, hey, can you look at this tape? Can you help me? Any pointers, critiques? Please help me.
Real quick on the photographer. So they were staying to film you practicing in front of the camera.
Yep.
Okay.
Spent a lot of money on coffee and beer and anything else. Hey, I'll buy you a drink. Can you please just shoot this?
And you said you were only working weekends?
I was the weekend shift. So I had weekends. I was working it was actually a really nice shift. I worked Saturday through Wednesday. So I had Thursday, Friday off. Okay. So as a young kid, you still had Thursday, Friday nights to do whatever. You get off Saturday night, you still had Saturday night. So I still felt like I had a social life.
I see.
Growing up then. But and so I just was able to just kind of work on my off time on getting my tape put together. And I would take scripts that somebody else wrote and I would practice. And I'd practice in front of the mirror and I'd constantly read and do that. And then one day somebody had called out sick. I don't even remember what the story. Oh, there was something, and it was downtown Greenville. I can't remember the story. I remember what I was wearing. I was wearing a pink pinstripe jacket. My boss had called and said, "Hey, we've got somebody else coming to produce. Can you report tonight?" Oh, absolutely. The producer at the time gets in my ear and he was like, "Don't worry. I'm getting ready to do my first live shot ever. It's only me and 10,000 other people watching you." And he did that to try and shake me. I managed to somehow make it through. So I did that. And then I kept working at it. And my boss brought me in one day and said, "Hey, would you like a dual role? We would like for you to produce weekends and then report 2 days a week." So I worked 4 10s and it was great. And I did it and I loved it.
Remember the first story? What was the first thing that you read?
Okay, well, so I was still reporting in the field. I remember my first breaking news story. Because Enrique Salinas was the photographer. Now he's an incredible multimedia journalist, or an MMJ now, but he would always practice with me. He was one of the ones that would always shoot my stand-ups or help me shoot the video. But it was my first breaking news story was at a gentleman's club in downtown Greenville, and there was a fight and somebody strangled a guy and that guy died.
Oh my.
And so there's all this, the coroner's out there. And I just remember he was like, "Hey, we practiced this. Are you ready to go?" And I thought, yeah, I am. And so because we walked through all these drills, we got on scene. I helped him put the mast up. He's grabbing the camera and got ready to go. I'm holding the little button on the side of the van so we can get our live shot tuned in. And then he goes, "Okay, it's up. I'm ready." And then instantly we walk up to, police and trying to get information. And yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yep.
So. Josh Carey?
Yeah.
It's just like, okay. When I interviewed him a long time ago, he's the grandson of Harry Carey.
I know.
But that doesn't mean that he just gets this job, right? He's trying to, and he's done stuff behind the camera. And he's still putting out his resume and stuff. We had we had a very thoughtful interview.
Yeah.
Actually, I think it went almost 3 hours. I really learned a lot about Josh and really respect him. But I also realized how hard it is, to like, yeah, I have this podcast and video, but I don't feel like if I was to do something by myself and sit here, I struggle. Like I would have to really practice to be more comfortable. I'm not like big on smiling like I'm talking, which is, you have to kind of do. And so I was kind of thinking just to compare and contrast. So for the episode, I guess this will go, the Russian tradecraft one actually goes out this week, and then you'll be the next.
Okay.
But in that we discussed, at one point, if he worked at an early part of his career at the CIA, and they needed to do like, you do like a targeting package or something, a dossier on someone that you're interested in. Who's this Russian guy? And back then it was just paper files. Yeah. And so that work sucks. It's laborious, right? But he looked at it as I'm gonna enjoy this, and then ultimately, hopefully, I'll get rewarded for doing something like really being thorough with something that most people like just can't stand on, because you need to do a good job, but like that's how you work your way up.
Yeah.
But I was also thinking about, while I was running, the contrasting that with, it's like one thing to work hard and to get known, but then like working hard in your business is different, because ultimately you still have to be good in front of the camera. Like there's still something there that's maybe in part genetic and with hard work to be able to pull it off. You know what I mean? And like, so I guess, did you ever take comfort in like, it just because someone's working hard and we're respected in the office doesn't necessarily mean they're going to take your job, because they still have to be, can you do a good job in front of the camera?
Right.
And deliver to the audience and connect to the audience. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah. So I don't know. It's hard because you want that story, right? As a young person in the industry, you want to go after it and you want to do a good job and you want that competition. You're feeding off of it. But I think the older you get and the more you mature in the industry, the more that stuff doesn't matter. And it then turns into, I'm doing this for what's right, and really tapping into what's my end game here. And you figure that out. And some people, they can't do that and they'll never do that. And so they'll get burned out and they'll move on, or they'll find something else. But you're either going to be a market jumper and you're really focused on what market you're going to end up at, or you're going to want a community to give yourself to and invest in. And I was fortunate enough to find out that I wanted that community. I didn't want to move every 2-3 years. I wanted to find a place that would invest in me and I could invest in the community, because that's what I liked. And so, I mean, I guess there are some people that have some amazing talent, but I know that everything that I've done, I've worked hard for, and I've done it on my own, and I'm proud of that. And if someone is better than me, then good. I want to learn from them. And I hope that the right person gets the job, or the right person gets to tell that story. And I just remember looking at everyone else who was more seasoned than me in the newsroom. And I thought, oh, I want to do that one day. And so you just file away. Okay, what did they do well? Or, ooh, maybe they made that mistake. I saw it. I noticed it. Okay, don't do that. Or my dad would always say, hey, be that reporter that everyone wants to work with. He was like, I don't care what you do. At the end of the day, you help them roll cables. You help them do this, and that. And that's been something that's really helped, because there's a lot of people that won't do that, and it's just the more skills you can use and learn, the more useful you are, and just soak up all the jobs. And so I guess I never felt, I don't know, even now I don't feel threatened. I feel it really is a privilege to work with people that are better than you and that know something more than you. You hear all the time, surround yourself with people who are smarter than you. You never want to be the smartest person in the room. And no, you don't. And that's the truth, because once you can tap into that, it's really amazing, because it pushes you even harder to do more.
You mentioned that you're studying Stoicism. Did you struggle at all with certain stories you had to do that kind of really tugged at your emotions early on? And is there any of those you can kind of share, like the experience of that?
Sure, absolutely. I mean, you pick the emotion and there's a story there. And a lot of it, I didn't experience it so much in my first job as much as it was my second job. When I moved to Alabama and I worked, in the Shoals Bureau out there for Channel 48. I was there for almost 5 years, a little more than 5 years. That's when you get all of the stories. You don't really get to pick and choose what you do. Obviously the house fire stories, right? That smell, really got to me early on in my career. And that was really, really hard. And I remember I barely had money to pay rent starting out. And this person had just lost everything. And I don't know what came over me, but I went back to my checkbook and I wrote a check for $50. That's all I could do. That's all I had was a check. I didn't have cash. And it was here. I don't know, whatever that was. And so it just drove that. And I thought, okay, I can't do that for every story, you know? And so it was that, okay, realize your role and what you're connected to and what not. So that was kind of hard, you know, dealing with all those fire stories because you never wanted to be that person that my family encountered. And then,
did anybody at the news know about your fire and if that caused you some element of trauma?
I don't think I shared that with anyone. I think it was, you know, as we're friends and, oh yeah, that happened. I think there was, you know, if I'd shared it with anyone, it would have been one of the other photographers. Her name's Mindy Cecil, a good friend of mine, even to this day. And I just remember I told her, I said, I can't get the smell out of my nose. You know, and I wasn't very emotional, but I said all last night, I just washed my hands and I couldn't get it. It was there. Gotcha. And then that was it. Right. And I don't think, you know, and that you can go down the rabbit hole with that secondary stress and traumatic stress and all that other stuff. But I don't know. It was weird. But so those stories were hard. Stories where you are walking into someone on their worst day ever. They lose a family member. Those are very, very hard. I remember being at a scene and they were looking for these people they had been missing. Come to find out it was a car accident. Rolled over a ravine. The family had just arrived on scene. We were there before the family. And so being respectful, the other photographers and stuff who were there, we put our gear down, but hearing a grown man cry out and hit the floor, you know, I get goosebumps thinking about it. That's just stuff that, it's hard. Right. And you take that, you know, someone loses someone, you know, you just insert whatever bad situation it is. They're still difficult to deal with. But you know, if you treat those stories with the same amount of care that you treat a happy story, you're going to get good results. You're going to feel good about yourself, right? They may not see it at the time, but you're either continuing a legacy, you're either telling somebody's story who can't tell their story, you're either turning the page to get some kind of justice for the family, you're celebrating with them, you know, it's all of the emotions. And it's really hard to turn it off at night, but you learn how to compartmentalize.
Is the stoicism in part of that, like just this continued journey for you to, I guess, continue to compartmentalize your emotions?
You know, when I first even heard about stoicism, it was from my husband, and it was probably maybe 7 years ago, and that the memento mori, and it was all that. I don't know, I'm going to misquote it, right? And I get nervous. You put me on the spot. But it was, you know, we are living every day, you know, we are going to die one day and all of this stuff. And I didn't like talking about that. I don't like talking about death. I don't want to talk about worst case scenario. I unfortunately see it every day. So he's trying to talk to me about stoicism. And I thought, no, this is insane. What are you talking about? Live like you're dying and da, 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 da. And then finally I gave it a chance and I started looking at it and I subscribed to the Daily Stoic, and it's a daily newsletter that you get from Ryan Holiday, and he types up all this stuff. And I thought, okay, well, maybe I can start reading this and exploring a little bit more. And then you realize that it just starts to really feel good. And then now I'm going, where was this when I started 18 years ago, right? You can only control what you can control. And if I had that, I think it would have been a different mindset for me back then. It would have been a little bit easier to walk through some of those stories with, or to understand where I am in my journey. But that's all a part of learning. But I lean heavily on that now, especially when I've transitioned into management, right? You know, control what you can control. But at the end of the day, you have to do what's right. Do what's right for your teammates. Yeah. Do what's right for the viewers. Yeah. You know, and really, you know, so you can look at yourself in the mirror and be happy and sleep well at night. That's what matters.
Yeah. Let me ask you something on like the do what's right. These are kind of like my pet peeves when it comes to the news, in the sense of that there's always this race to be first, to break something, right? Whether it's wrong or, you know, like, is there somehow some reward that if for stations then when they break something, other than they feel like the audience wants it, because over time, I would think if the audience was like, well, we want you to be right though. Like it's going to make no sense if you were the first to break something and it's way too early. It was either a bogus story or there's just not enough information yet, or you know what I mean? Like, what is the appeal like to, we have to be first?
Yeah. So it was in the past, right? So, and I mean, you look at the evolution of journalism and local TV or television journalism as a whole, right? I mean, I think it started going the wrong way in the 90s when you started having the 24-hour news cycle.
Right.
On the local, I learned from one of my friends in sales in my first job, it was, why do I have to say that I was first on scene or I was the only reporter on scene? Nobody cares about that. They're watching us. We have the story. That's all that matters. Well, no, it mattered. One time it mattered because they used that for selling points for sales.
Gotcha.
Hey, we broke X amount of stories. We're the first to do this. We're the first to do that. Nowadays, we've got social media and it really doesn't matter. And now you're seeing kind of a 180 or 360 coming back to just the storytelling elements. And that's what I'm trying to do at 31 is get everyone into telling the story that matters. You can chase breaking news all day long, but is it really breaking news if it doesn't impact all of us?
Yeah. Right?
The people who need to know, they know. Other than that, let's do the stories that impact the community as a whole.
Yeah. Well, then I'm obviously just personally fascinated with it all. Every time I go to a news station, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I wish I had this kind of staff helping me.
Hey, it's not much more than what you have here. So
well, there's a lot of people there, but and you kind of touched on it earlier, and there are those careers and the people I've interviewed on this show where I'm like, man, how do you turn it off? Because it's got to be really hard. And, or you have to have your news department such that like someone is looking at it all the time because something's going to break or not break, or you have to make a decision. Let's say on the other end of it, when do you pull back? When is it time to stop covering something? And it still may be important maybe to you emotionally or for the station, but then by and large, the stations aren't covering it. Like, how difficult is it that let's just to like know when to say, all right, we're not going to talk about whatever anymore. And it's time to end our coverage.
It's so hard.
Yeah.
So hard. I mean, it is just that constant battle. What if we do? It's the what ifs. And then at some point somebody has to stand up and say, okay, we're done with this. We can what if it and kick it down the road as much as we want, but here, this is all we're going to get. And let's move on, continue to look into this, but then, and it's hard. And it takes a team. Yeah. It's a team conversation. It's team conversations that have to happen every day.
Yeah.
And again, it's what are we doing? Are we doing this just for us? Are we doing it just to say that we're out there? Or are we doing this for the right reason? And if we can't do it for the right reason, then we're not going to do it.
Gotcha.
We're not going to do it. So.
Did you ever feel like this? I was thinking about this as you were talking about when we were talking about the fires and stuff, but like, have you ever kind of felt like, okay, I don't want to mention this thing. I don't want to remove myself from a story because I never want to be replaced. I never want to, like, it's not to say you don't have time off, but have you ever kind of felt like I'm so dedicated to this and I never want to show a weakness or I'm going to take this story off because somebody has to replace you in a way for that. And you don't want it to be permanent.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Do you still? 5
years of my life in the Shoals, I did not want anybody to come to my territory.
Yeah.
All right. I didn't want to take any time off. I've finally dialed in. I've got sources. I've got people. Nope. Not even my teammate coming from Huntsville. I don't want you to now them fall in love with you. And oh gosh. And here I am left to square one and I don't have these stories. So that was hard, but, I didn't take a lot of vacation time for those 5 years. Phone rings in the middle of the night. I'm going. Phone rings on a Saturday. I'm going, and then you get into this deeper connection with the community. And then you're wearing this, I don't want to let the community down. And I do believe them and I do believe in their story or I do believe in whatever's happening. And so then you're battling with that. And then you're stressed out, burned out, and you're lashing out at anything that comes your way and you can't quite put your finger on it. And then you say, well, you haven't taken any time off in 6 months. And that's a problem.
Yeah.
And so, at one point I committed to myself, I don't go 3 to 4 months without having at least a long weekend. And I try to tell that to younger folks too. And I think it's true in any industry. You have to take time away to really kind of reset and get in there. And those stories will be there. The people know that you care about them, and you have to trust that.
Yeah.
But it's hard, look, and I haven't spoken about this publicly, and I'm fine sharing it now. I was fired from my first job. It was so hard to take.
In Greenville?
In Greenville, yeah.
I'm sorry, is it Greenville or Greenville?
Well, depends on if you're from there or not. As a news anchor, I say Greenville. Okay. So yeah, I was fired from my first job. Lost camera gear. It was signed out to me. Did not openly share that, until it was too late. There were some other incidences.
You lost it.
Lost it. Yes. It was in my car. Somebody stole it out of the car.
Okay.
I thought somebody was playing a joke on me. Okay. Obviously that's not the case. There were some other incidences with some other camera gear that happened within the station. Anyways, it came down to it. Hey, corporate needed an example for someone. I worked my tail off, and I had already known that I wanted to report full time. I was doing a producer reporter gig. So I had already been looking for some jobs. And they had to let me go. And I think that's where it goes back to, that's where I get the do what is right. I wasn't forthcoming. Yeah, flat out lied about it. Right. And so now, to a fault, you will find that I am so transparent to a fault sometimes, or do what's right, no matter how hard it is. You have to do what's right. The person that fired me is still one of my good friends and one of my mentors. She believed in me. And it's funny, when I took the job in Huntsville, and God works in mysterious ways, I was fired that morning. That afternoon, I had a phone interview, and it was so weird. And
how the heck did that line up so fast?
Wow. The journey's already mapped out for you. And I just remember I was like, oh gosh, they're going to ask me about what happened. They never asked me about it. If they wanted to know, they could know. I never shared it. I just recently shared it with them, and I'm speaking more freely with everyone about it because it's part of my story. It's part of who I am. I thought I'll never be brave enough to share that, but I am, and that's when you're asking what drives that do what's right. Yeah, it's my parents' upbringing, but I also got in trouble, and I've never done anything kind of wrong in my life, and I didn't do what was right at the time. And so now I've got this, this is kind of that ground zero for me with that. So I had the back to the mentor stuff. Wrote her an email. I want to say about a year, or maybe less than a year after I moved back. She never responded, but it was this long email thanking her for everything and apologizing. I didn't mean for things to go down the way they went down, and that if I were in her position, I'd do the exact same thing. Found out she never got that email. And so fast forward to about 3 years ago, we were going to be at a party together with a lot of mutual acquaintances. And I talked to her, and it was great. And then I said, did you ever get that email? And she said, no. And I said, I bet you I have it. Thank you, Gmail, for never deleting anything. And I was able to send it to her, and we have been very close ever since. I saw her back in November.
So you somewhat assumed she just never replied.
Yeah, I thought she was so disappointed in me.
Isn't that crazy?
And this is it. And I thought she could kill my career if she wanted to. She could have. I mean, it's such a small business, and she never did. And then now she's one of my biggest cheerleaders, and it's awesome. I've leaned on her going into management, and and you deal with stuff, and you've encountered people in similar situations that I've been in with me. And I always joke, I'm like, oh, it's my payback. It's my payback. But now I understand, right? It's that not wanting to ever let anyone down. And so that's why I preach so hard about do what is right. You've got to do what's right.
Yeah. Just going back to that. So were her hands tied and she had to fire you, or her
hands were tied.
Okay. So she had no choice. If it was her choice, she may have been more lenient.
I think she would have.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I definitely would have paid for it. Absolutely. But we were down 2 cameras already from other incidences, and hey, you need an example. Yeah. This cannot happen. And it was just me. But then again,
I know I've, for some reason, I guess I'm naive enough to think that everyone that watches this show watches every second of every episode, right? But I've spoken about this before, but when I used to manage a very, very large program, there were circumstances where people were kind of let go, that I didn't agree with. You know, my hands were tied, right, and I had to kind of be the enforcer. But in those moments where you're telling them this is it, you know, and you know, I had to also protect the customer. I had to protect the company, and I would have to be really careful on my own commentary on it. But I would when I felt it was right, I would say, listen, you know, I know that this is hard, but I have seen this before, and I guarantee you, and seen it in the sense of like people I've had to let go for, you know, that I would not have made that decision.
Yep.
But it always works out for them. It's like karma. It's like you're gonna be okay. In every circumstance, I guarantee you, in every circumstance that has happened, the person has ended up in a better situation. So you, we're doing what's right here, you know, and we'll separate amicably. I'm cheering for you, but you know, like you're going to be all right.
Yeah. Oh, and it was a redirection, and that's exactly what I needed. And I ended up in North Alabama. Yeah. I ended up meeting my husband, you know, and it all worked out. And some people, you know, that I have shared it with, they said, would you change it? You know, I don't think I would have. I needed that. I needed that. I made a terrible, terrible mistake.
Yeah.
There's no question about it. But, you know, at the end of the day, that it was that mistake that caused me to really grow and to really start tapping into what am I doing here? What do I want to do? And, you know, and it led me to everything that I have now. And like I said, I can be brutally honest to a fault sometimes, but everyone knows where I stand. You know, and so it's a weird thing. And for so long, I used to just keep it tucked away. I thought, what would people think if they found out? Oh my gosh, I can't, that would taint my image. And now I'm going, no, that's who I am. Yeah. I was young and I was dumb.
Well, and the reality is, if you talk to someone, they'll be like, I was fired too. Like everyone has their own skeletons and their own experiences, right?
Yeah. And then we always joke in the TV industry, if you've not been fired, then are you really in the TV industry? Yeah. Right.
Some people I've heard, actually I have a boss right now, my direct boss will say, every day you should try to be fired. Yeah. In the sense of like, keep pushing, keep trying, you know, and just keep on keeping on, right? Yeah. Your husband, his name's Joel? Is that right? Okay. Yep. And then you got little Jack.
Yep.
And I did see some clips when I guess you were still on maternity leave and they would bring you on the show and you've got your earbuds in and you're showing him off.
Yeah. And his little shark.
He's when does he turn 5?
He turns 5 in June.
Okay. It's coming up.
Yep.
He's doing good?
Oh, great. Great. Yeah, motherhood has been incredible. You know, it's really forced the patience. I thought I had patience, but, you know, being in news, the hurry up and go and the multitasking, it's all transferable skills to motherhood and to parenthood for us, but just forcing the slowdown and forcing that really to enjoy every minute that you have. That's nice.
How much time maternity leave did you get to take?
I took 12.
12 weeks.
I took 12.
Good for you. Was that hard to come back?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I came back a different person. All right. And I don't think people, you know, it's the unspoken truth about motherhood. You come back a different person. And it's hard for career-driven women to accept that too. It was very hard for me to accept because I'm ready to drop it all and give it to the job. But oh, wait. Now I have a life that's depending on me. You know, we're doing this together and I wanted this and we have this. And so you're constantly torn. And it was a hard adjustment for me to do that.
Is he a family name, Jack?
No, we loved it. It was, it was either Jack or it was going to be Vincent. And so we settled on Jack Vincent.
Jack Vincent.
Yeah.
It's not short for like Jack is just Jack.
It's just Jack. Yeah. And then we laugh. It's the pirate, right?
Yeah, sure.
So Jack Sparrow or you know, whatever, Jack Rackham. But
Captain
we
Jack.
just don't forget the captain. Thought it was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just a nice name. Yeah.
And how'd you meet your husband?
At UNA, actually.
Okay.
So, of course, when you're on TV, you can't just blurt out to the world, "Hey, I'm single," because you know that opens a bunch of stuff. Again, another story.
Could.
Well, you could. Another story that I used to keep in the wraps, but now so many people do it. But we met online. It's how'd you meet? Don't worry, we met out at a bar. That's fine. Everyone bought that. And then now it's become more socially acceptable. And so it's like, yeah, guess what? We did. Now we're open, and we were one of the first ones to meet online back when it wasn't so popular.
So you didn't meet at North Alabama.
Oh, well.
You said UNA.
Yeah, he was at UNA.
Oh,
yeah,
he was.
yeah. And I was working in Florence at the time.
Okay, I got you.
So, and then we ended up living a mile apart and had no idea.
Neat.
Yeah.
Was it one of those stories where he was the first profile you came across? Like you just created your account, like, let's try this thing out. And you're like, here he is.
No, I think we both had tried it.
You tried
in the different areas. I tried it in South Carolina. He tried it in Birmingham where he was at. And then I was like, I'll try it again. And then, yeah.
It's kind of weird for me to be old enough to like, I'll have never got to use that.
Yeah. No, we didn't do the swipe left and right and all that other stuff. It was Match.com. Yeah.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong. It was like nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying, like, I'm just old enough, but like,
you don't need. I can't imagine doing it now.
I've been married almost 30 years.
Nice.
Well, 28, but
round up. That's my math. Yeah. I like that. My husband will tell you.
And was he military?
He still is. Military. Yeah, he's in the Guard.
And he's in,
okay. He's in the Guard.
Is he on the Arsenal?
No.
Good.
Nope.
That's probably good.
So yeah,
that's a tough commute. Yeah. In and out.
Yeah. Everyone who works in this area has some kind of connection there, but yeah.
Is there a story that you never got to cover that you wanted to, or that two parts? One would be you never got to cover it, maybe some other anchor did, or a story that the station just never latched onto and you were kind of hoping.
I don't think there's. No, I've been very fortunate. And I think a lot of the stories that I have been able to cover, I just kind of pinch myself. And anytime I get a chance to reflect, I'm going, gosh, I did that. Mm-hmm. And in the moment you're very grateful. But then when you put it on paper and you see it and you're going, man, I can't believe I had the opportunity to do that. So in the moment, any story that I'm angry or frustrated that I couldn't do, I've had incredible one-offs or something else that has taken its place that I didn't see coming.
Yeah.
And so, I think I feel very fulfilled at this point in my career. And I'm very grateful for everything that I've been through and everything that I've covered.
How many years you want to do it?
Well, I don't know. I always tell everyone I ride the media train until it stops. It's slowed down a few times, but things keep going, and then you just see whatever's out there.
Yeah. What about this whole like podcasting realm? Do you like having headphones on and kind of just sitting across from someone?
So, again, that full disclosure, Marie coming out here, I was not a fan of podcasting in the beginning because you look at TV or you look at newspapers, they had their fights with the bloggers. You look at radio, your XM radio, your satellite radio, they had their fights.
The commenters.
Yep. Your TV, right? We're up against podcasters. We're up against, people that journalism and storytelling and stuff. And actually now it's been probably the last year or so, I've actually started to really dive into it and to look at it. And it's fascinating. It's very interesting to me to see that and embrace it, right? Because for so long it was, you guys are the enemy. You just get on here and you can talk for an hour about whatever and say whatever you want to say. And some people don't understand that it is your opinion.
Yeah.
But no, I think there's a lot of good stuff that can come out of podcasting.
So it's a good thing I didn't ask you 3 years ago.
Right. I probably would have said, no, thank you.
No, thank you.
Yeah. You didn't come with a check too. I get these requests that say, would you like to be on so-and-so's podcast? We'll spend up to $1,000.
Really?
Yeah. It's got to be some kind of prank. I've never accepted it. So I know.
I guess I could have given you $50
probably,
to pay you back for the the $50 you gave out.
Yeah.
No, and I'm sure it's difficult. It's like it's at what point like I look at it as I missed the boat on doing what you did to go to college. This is where I have a chip on my shoulder because I just didn't know anything. I just thought like I don't even know what I thought growing up. Like I enjoyed school so much. I maximized every day. I was a good athlete. I enjoyed my friends, but I just had no concept. I mean, I was a good student, but I sucked at the SATs. I didn't ever take any sort of test because it cost money and we didn't have money. And I don't know. It's just one of those things where I'm like, I don't really know I just guess I felt like I'd never be 18. then I never have to worry about it.
Yeah.
And so then later in life, I'm in my 30s and I'm like, well, I actually realized, man, I want to like broadcast games and all that. But I didn't go to Boston University and all this, and no one's going to want me because I'm this short white guy, and like there's no I'm not Michael Strahan and whatever else, right? There's nothing for me as far as anybody would want me. So like, well, I might as well at least just do my own thing. And I've just enjoyed. So some of it's not even this. I enjoy like the setup part, which is kind of a genetic thing with like my brother. And I don't know, like it's my own creation. I'm not making any money. There's one difference, right? Yeah. No one's paying me money. Yeah. I'd love to, but the numbers aren't there. And so it's just like, I don't know. I like, it's like, I guess you just kind of like hope that something like transpires, or there's something in this that will really stick. But I just also like, I honestly just enjoy like meeting people. It helps me to know the area more, but I also like have been one of those. I also don't like get starstruck,
right?
And like if like I don't know, I shouldn't. Let me just pick on like I don't know the highest celebrity, if like Tom Cruise sat there. Yeah. I wouldn't be like he's a guy,
right?
And everyone's a guy or a gal,
right?
Julia Roberts, okay, cool, but you Julia Roberts, like anybody else, you're from Bluffton, South Carolina, or you're from Des Moines, and then this thing happened and people know you, but like I am not at all like starstruck, or I would do the same interview. You know what I mean? And so sometimes I kind of like this format because it's like, I'll contact anybody. Would you be willing to come on the show? And talk, and so.
Yeah, you never know. But it's the passion that drives it, right?
Yeah.
And so I think you make a difference. You don't realize you're making a difference. And when you tap into whatever you're passionate about, and that's what I told myself, long ago when I had my reset or my redirection. Okay, I'm reporting now full time. And it was, if I can make a difference once every 6 months, I'm doing my job. Once every 6 months. Now I probably set the bar way low, but in actuality, that was what I wanted. And so now, you think you tell a story, you inform someone on a topic, you change somebody's life, you're there in a good moment, or you're there in a worst case scenario, but you were able to bring a little bit of laughter or a little bit of light on a terrible situation with this family. If I can make that difference, then I've done my job. Yeah. And I think, hey, once every 6 months, anything else is just bonus.
And I want to give you a heads up, like, as you've been talking, right? When you go back to when you were fired, if I was like a money-making podcast, that's going to be a clip I'll probably do. And it'll probably start out with a big hook right away. I was fired from my first job. But if anything, it's more like, for me, really, it's more, I want, just as we were saying, people to know that these things happen. They happen to the people that you look up to. People make mistakes, and it's more about that than the other side of it, where someone's just like, I'm going to get some clicks because I got Marie to say something. It's not about that at all.
Right.
It's about like, how can I help people to see that there's similarities, right, in our behaviors, and we all make mistakes, and it's how you respond to it.
Yep.
But yeah, that's going to be my first clip.
There you go. That's fine. I don't care. Big, bold letters, right?
It's really funny. I had written this down, like some of the questions I was going to ask you. And the first one I said was, first time you got in trouble.
Yeah, that was it.
That was it.
Yeah. Okay. And really, to capitalize, if you need to edit this back together. So I was that good kid that didn't get in trouble. I know, that goody. So I couldn't hit my curfew on time. And so I would call my parents. I had to call when I was on the way home, but I would call them 5 minutes before I was supposed to be home. Oh, I'm on my way. Leaving Caligny Plaza with my friends on the other side of Hilton Head over Sea Pines area. And I'm in Bluffton, knowing good and darn well that's a 45-minute drive. I'm not hitting curfew.
And it's just because you're having fun with your friends?
Yeah. And it's like, oh, yeah, no, I'm not going to leave early. I have to be home at 10 o'clock. Nobody else has to be home at 10 o'clock. Why do I have to do that? So that flew in my house for probably 3 weekends. And then that third weekend, there's my mom. You're grounded. What
you're like 16, 17?
Oh, right. 18.
Yeah,
18. And so what did I do? I worked. It was summertime. and or fall, whatever. After school, I lined it up. I was working at Giuseppe's Pizza and Pasta, and I picked up every shift I could pick, and I would work doubles on the weekend. I didn't know how long it was going to last, and my grandparents were like, "She's a good kid. She's learned her lesson. Why are you grounding her now?" And I'm like, "Yeah, thanks." Right. But it was, so I went from that to then, getting fired. That was, you know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. How was that goody good? Yeah, it was.
All right. I'm going to ask you a few other questions.
Sure.
Okay. So let's say, what's the farthest you've ever flown?
Hawaii.
How does Marie pass the time on a flight from, I guess you probably went from like California to Hawaii, or was it Houston?
It was Atlanta.
Atlanta. Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah.
So this is better. So that's probably a 9-hour flight, 10-hour flight.
Yep.
What did you do to pass the time?
So I was 6 months postpartum.
Oh, okay.
First time leaving, I said, if I'm going to leave Jack, I'm going to make it big. So let's go halfway around the world. And it was covered the 80th anniversary of Pearl Harbor.
Oh.
And I was scared about flying that long. All of a sudden I have this flight anxiety that I never had, because motherhood brings on, anxiety about all kinds of stuff.
Especially you start flying over the ocean.
Yes. And I was working on a bunch of stories anyways for that coverage. And I walked up, and I am seated next to 2 World War II veterans that were on their way to. And I remember texting my husband, and I said, well, just know if this plane goes down, I am dying the happiest person on the face of the planet.
Because you got to talk to them the whole time.
They are next to me. Yes. And so I spent the time talking with them and laughing with them and just learning about them and sharing stories. And then if they would fall asleep, I'd work on my laptop and work on the other stories that I was doing. Until my battery died. And then, next thing you know, the flight's over and we're there.
Also, it was for work.
It was for work. Yeah.
Actually, before I get into the fun questions, I want to ask you about the Emmy and the Murrow Award.
Okay.
Can you talk about those?
I can.
The pieces that you got?
Yeah, I'll try and be a little bit brief. So, the Murrow Award actually came as a complete surprise with that. So Jack was born in June. I came back in September, October 2nd, October 1st. It was a Friday. We start covering breaking news. An officer had been shot in Sheffield. And so having spent so much time in Sheffield, I had a lot of connections. Instantly you think, please don't let this be terrible, and don't let this be anybody that I know. Right. And I had a feeling it was. When I started reaching out to some folks, I was like, all right, this is really bad. And I found out that it was Officer Nick Reisner that was shot. They didn't know if he was going to make it or not. And, you're working with your contacts, trying to, you're trying to be respectful and then not share too much. And so there was just that line that they knew that I was not going to cross. If they shared something with me off the record, it was from a friendship standpoint. I was going to wait until something was official to release that information. Saturday, October 2nd is when he passed away. But the family and the police department, they were in Huntsville Hospital, and they invited me up to the hospital to just kind of talk with them, and so I could share, words and to be there. It just felt, again, it was the right thing to do, having that connection with them. I was able to talk to the other officer who was shot. And then we had a team that went out to the Shoals, and Nick was such a great guy. I remember Nick when we were back in the Shoals, years before that, and he had just got a job as a police officer. I remember I had actually shared his photo on my Facebook page about one of the newer officers, and he was just so cool. He never shied away from the TV camera. He was just a really great guy, so proud of his daughter. And, he was just that lovable, fun guy. And connected with all the kids. Anyways, so the community is hurting. So we've got young reporters that are out there. And I go back to the station. I remember texting my husband. I was like, I'm not coming home tonight. I said, I'll be home after the 10. And he said, okay, do what you have to do. And that was that forgiveness that I needed, to not be there with my son and him, and to help him out. He's got it, but he knew that this was a big deal, and it was a big deal to me, and I had to be there for the family. And so we just started putting together, it's like, okay, what do we do? What's the story that we tell? You can tell the story of the death. You can tell that heartbreak story, or you can tell the positives and what's going to happen. And then you can focus on the negative side, right? Who did this, all this stuff. And everyone was angry, and there were so many emotions. And in that moment, I got to jump back into my producer hat. And I got to play a bunch of roles. I was editor, producer, anchor reporter that day.
Wow.
And so I had 2 people anchor the show. They opened the show. We had a special open. It was just everything worked out well. And it was I didn't think about coverage. I just told everyone kind of, you do this, you take this, you take this. We trusted everyone to do their job. And a beautiful newscast came out of it. We didn't focus in on the person who was responsible. We focused in on now, what does this mean? Who is Nick? How many lives has he impacted? What does this mean? The community's hurting. Yeah. Let's share the stories. Let's give people a place to talk. Again, you just do that for the right reasons. I didn't think it was going to go anywhere after that. And that's it. Kept in touch with the family. You share stories and you follow up on it. And the bosses at the time decided to submit it for an Abby Award and for a Murrow. And so it received Best Newscast. And then it went on to receive, Best Newscast for the Murrow. And I look at that and I think, what a terrible topic to win such a prestigious award for.
Yeah. But
at the same time, what a beautiful moment for that. And knowing Nick is, kind of cocky. And so I get a little kick out of thinking, yeah, you know what? Even after he passed, he's able to say, I'm winning awards for people. Yeah. Look at what I did for you, and his brothers and his family would all laugh with that. But that was that story. We followed it through, and they pushed the Nick Reisner Act and all the legal stuff that came with that. But I still communicate with them and we still follow the case through. But that's kind of the backstory with that. And in that moment, is sharing with the other teammates, these young kids who've never encountered any kind of story like this. Hey, this is why you do this. This is why you do that. Please trust me. And at the end of the night, seeing 22-year-old kids teary-eyed and really buy in, and they really saw what we did, and they were moved by it. I was like, man, my work here is done. You feel good about it.
You touched on it a little bit before where you said people can tell when you're emotionally connected to something or not. Is part of that just because you knew the guy, and that just really carried forward?
Yeah.
And all of that, even though the people that did the awards may not have known that.
Yeah.
But did you just kind of it touches this like extra gear in a way in you?
Yeah, it wasn't, Nick, to say, I don't want it to come across that we were the best of friends and super close. No, we had a very good professional
But you knew him.
Relationship. Yeah, I knew him and we knew the risks, right, that can happen at any time. I think the bigger connection was the community. Okay. God, I love the Shoals area. I love all of North Alabama. And that was where that passion came from. That the police department's all involved. They treated me so well when I was out there, and I knew that they were hurting at that time. And so that's what lit the fire. And then, knowing the family, right? Man, what would you want? How would you want people to treat your family had the roles been reversed?
Yeah, absolutely. Not like the thing where someone just like your house burns down and right away it's like, there's that report. I remember when, do you know Jim Gray, sports reporter? He's like this smarmy looking guy, but he, like the Bulls win a championship when Rodman, it was their last one, I think. And he comes right up. I mean, they just won. They're in Utah, Game 6, Michael Jordan, right?
Yeah.
Before his second retirement. And they go into the locker room and they're interviewing players, and Jim Gray's like, hey, Dennis, what are your plans for next year? Because reports are Chicago doesn't want you. What's going on? I'm like, can you let the guy, same thing happened with the Yankees. There was something with the Yankees World Series and something else. And they're like, seriously, dude, like, can you just let me?
Was that Jeter?
Yeah, it was Jeter. They're like, like, can you just let us celebrate?
Yeah.
And that's the same guy, Jim Gray.
Yeah, no, it's that. Just let the moments live, man.
Yeah. Now, what about the Emmy?
Oh, so the Emmy was a complete surprise. So this was my time in Shreveport. I made connections. I actually talked to my connections over there on the way to your place, just checking in on them. So we had talked about it for years. Hey, I'll get you on this E4B flight.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, oh, the doomsday plane. Okay, yeah, like that's going to happen. Oh, man, I'm moving away. And he's like, hey, we got a flight. We have, media flight. Do you want on it? Absolutely. I don't care if my boss pays for it or not. I'm going, like I'll take time off. I'm doing this. I'll turn this story. And so I went and I got this incredible opportunity, and it wasn't at Offutt. It was just a little bit south where the airport, I think it was the Lincoln Airport, is where they had their hangar. And so I was able to fly, the E-4B, that's the doomsday plane. And they opened it all up for us and everything that they could. It's the SecDef's mode of transportation when he travels outside the U.S. and all this fun stuff. And I put it together, and I had a young producer that was helping me, and I thought, he doesn't care about it. But the more he saw what I was doing, and he took an interest in it. Tim Collins, and he stayed some late nights with me and helped me edit that. And we just wanted to tell a good story. And so, hey, here it is. This is why we have it. This is where it's going in the future. And here's your first look. Nobody has that. So many people in the area that had Air Force connections reached out to me after that story. And we had an intern that her father worked on that mission set, had no idea. And so to be able to share that was pretty special. And then, so normally how it goes, you kind of submit it for a state award, and then you go on to your bigger awards. If you have anything good. And if it's not picked up by the state, chances are it's not going to be picked up anywhere else. We didn't get picked up by the state for that. And I thought, why? This is an Alabama story. It impacts all of us. It's great. But then we got the Emmy nomination. And it was it was through COVID, virtual Emmy still. And I thought, oh man, and made a joke about, sure, we're going to win and all this stuff. And then we had to record this acceptance speech. And I was like, I'm jinxing it. This is terrible. I shouldn't have done that. And the next thing you know, it pops up. And I was sitting there in my living room with Tim. We had people over for dinner and stuff. And there's, Jack at the time and my 2-year-old and my husband and everything. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is the coolest thing ever. And then there's that clip. And I thought, well, I'm glad I was composed, because I wouldn't have been so composed now.
That's awesome.
So
congratulations.
Thank you.
Are those some of the greatest achievements in your life? Other than having Jack, I guess.
I mean, yeah, you can, those, for the awards and for what those awards stand for, yes. There are other stories. My project with the Mogadishu, the Battle of Mogadishu, the Idrang Valley, those are the stories that I'm most proud of. The people that don't typically talk to other people, and being able to make a difference, being able to tell a World War II veteran's story and then have family members say, they never shared that with me.
Yeah.
Or thank you for listening to them. Normally people just brush them off, or, you go there with one topic in mind and they start talking about something else and you have an interest in it, and that becomes this incredible story. Those are the stories I think that mean more to me than any Murrow or Emmy could.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's do a couple questions.
Sure.
Easy one first. Favorite color?
Oh, I just 2 popped in my head. It's red or purple.
Is that the majority of like outfits you wear that you're going to be red or purple, or do you have a choice?
No, it's probably going to be blue.
Blue.
It's probably, TV color. It looks better on me.
You guys don't go on road trips at all? Yeah, when you drive, even if you drive to your brother's, like what's a snack you like to have on the road?
See, I'm not. I don't know. I definitely drink a ton of water.
Do you?
But I'm not into the big.
No Twizzlers or.
No, I do like Twizzlers.
Peanut butter pretzels or something.
Yeah, I'm not one of those. It's like, oh, I have to have something. Even in the past, I wasn't. Yeah, no, kind of boring in that sense.
By the way, as a quick aside, this morning I walked my grandson to Circle K.
Yeah.
Which, it's a long ways when you're with a 2-year-old. Yeah. And like, it took us forever. But once we got there, I'm like, what am I going to give this guy to like occupy him on the way back? And I bought like a big cookie and I just gave him like a bite at a time. And literally he finished the last bite when we got in the driveway.
Nice.
Because it's not even half a mile. It's probably a half mile, 3/4 mile round trip.
He probably loved it though.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't want to get something in the bag. I was like, no, I'll just get a cookie.
Yeah.
I'll just keep breaking it off. But man, it takes forever to. Maybe with Jack, you guys go and walks around the neighborhood. And
Yes.
Squirrel.
Oh my gosh.
Playing in puddles.
He wants to read every number on the mailbox, and then he wants to read it in Spanish, and then he wants to. And I'm like, come on, let's go. Let's just go. Come on, we're walking.
What about? Okay, you ever get to like just sit down and like get in your jammies and your comfortable clothes and you're watching TV and what's your like binge or like your comfort food on the couch?
Okay, comfort food on the couch. Again, see, I'm just weird with that. I eat my meals. I've never been a big snacker. It depends. on what's going on, but we'll get in these Oreo kicks. So Oreos and milk.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we'll go a couple days and it's like, ooh, let's get Oreos. And then we won't touch them for a while.
Do you knock out like a whole sleeve of them?
Oh yeah, it's terrible. Yeah. It's terrible. Yeah.
Ever the entire package? Just for you?
Close enough. Not just for me, but with my husband. And then I like to point fingers and say, you ate more.
Like, there's 6 more. I'll just eat them.
Yep. Let's go ahead. Even them out. You have to have 2 at a time.
Any phobias?
Yeah. Death.
Okay.
Yeah. Absolutely. Crazy. Yeah. Not a big fan of cockroaches. But as far as anything, yeah, it's that unknown and embracing that. And I'm working on that, working on my faith journey and the stoicism and not to be so afraid of it. Yeah. But yeah, it's very hard for me to even talk about that.
Okay. All right. I don't know. So your music stuff is all over the place, like you said, right? Like, let me see if I can find the paragraph. Yeah, like I love Billy Joel, Elvis, Kenny Chesney, Frank Sinatra, Metallica. What's your favorite Metallica song?
Oh, it would be, I like their Hardwired. Hardwired album that came out because my husband was a huge Metallica fan.
Okay.
And it was Moth into a Flame.
Okay.
And they did that with Lady Gaga on one of the shows, and the audio was all messed up, and I was so disappointed. But Moth into a Flame has to be one of my favorite Metallica songs.
I've been really into the reaction videos, and when they played in Moscow with that 1.3 million people, right? I can watch that YouTube, like the people reacting to it over and over, where they're like, "Wait a minute, those are people? Oh my gosh!" Right when they play Enter Sandman.
Yeah. Oh, and everybody, right? Who doesn't love that one? But
I know.
It's just great. My husband has loved him for years. Never saw him in person. They started touring again. We had moved to Louisiana. We drove back to Atlanta to see him, and then they came to Little Rock when we were still in Louisiana, and I got tickets to go see him again. So we've seen him twice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like some of their, like, even Ride the Lightning, some of their older stuff.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, you've got quite an impressive thing here. All right, so do you like to sing?
I can't carry a tune in a bucket with a lid on it.
Wow, I never heard that one. Do you sing out? Like, do you sing to yourself in the car?
I do. Yeah. Oh, okay. I sing to myself.
So have you heard? Absolutely. Have you heard my hypothetical?
No.
Okay. I do this. I've done this several times, but this is my favorite. So you and Joel, let's say you're down at Probst Arena. I don't know if you let's say you went to a Havoc game.
Okay.
And you've left the arena. It's a beautiful night. It's this time of year, April, May, and you go to your car. And now you're driving back onto that little road that's in front of the Probst Arena that's always under construction. But no other cars are around, just you. But all these people are everywhere, right? They've left the arena, they're leaving the concert hall, they're going to Big Spring Park, and you and Joel have your windows down. You're driving, by the way, and you have the radio cranked to a song that you're singing to your heart's content, and you don't care if you can't carry a tune with the lid on the bucket, whatever you said. What are you singing?
And he's singing with me. It's going to be Suspicious Minds.
Suspicious Minds.
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's apropos.
Yeah. Oh, that is, we are going to go. Suspicious Minds. Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
I love asking that question. There's like a lot of times it will stump people for a while.
Yep.
And then every now and then somebody said it was like a song from like Les Mis. I was like,
whoa.
And they're like, you didn't see that one coming, did you? I was like, no.
Yep.
No, I know what song you're talking about, but I wasn't thinking that that's what you're belting out.
Yeah.
But
no, there's something that the two of us, we just, we'll embarrass each other or we'll embarrass other people around us.
Really?
Just to do. It's like, do you hear it? Do you hear it? And you can't contain yourself. And I don't know what it is, but that one, that's what's cranking.
Any final thoughts from you? Guess how long we've been talking?
Has it been an
hour and 40? I know you got to be gone. Like, oh, you got a heart. No, we still got time.
Yeah, we have plenty of time. What else do you want to? I rambled. I went all over.
Oh, you're fine. No. I talk longer, but my wife gets mad sometimes when I go too long.
You want to talk about St. John real quick?
Oh yeah. Okay. Let's talk about St. John. Do you fly down there? You fly straight there?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Huntsville to Atlanta to St. Thomas.
St. Thomas.
And then take a ferry to St. John.
So is it like an all-inclusive? Are you staying at the same place every time?
No, it's a Verbo. Okay. And we get out there and it's just rustic, right? There's not a lot there are no hotels. They've got the Westin Resort timeshares. They've got this adults only Saint Resort that they stood up, but it's, oh gosh, It's amazing. Homer Hickam has a house over there. Kenny
Really?
Chesney has a house down there.
Have you seen them at all?
No, I've talked to Homer about it and about our love. I'm decked out with my hook bracelets and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
We in my fantasy world, that we like to call that, because I'm eternal optimist, I'm going to run into Kenny Chesney on the island at some point. It's going to happen. And I'm not going to lead on that he's Kenny Chesney. I just want to talk to him about his love for the island. And I want him to take a picture of my husband and I, or my family, and that's it. And I don't want it with him. And then we can tell everyone, hey, he took this photo. Whether or not they believe us at the time, that's up to them, but that's a great story to have.
And
yeah.
He's seeing Suspicious Minds with you and
Joel,
that'd be,
the three of you. Or he could sing You Are My Sunshine, because that's what I sing to Jack every night.
Yeah. So what is it about St. John that you like so much?
Gosh, so, it was, it goes back to the whole I was fired thing. It was before I was fired. That was my very first vacation that I ever took as an adult and working. And I got down there, and it was just, I found happiness. I went with a couple of friends, and there was something so peaceful about it. And that was what kind of clicked. I'd worked so hard for everything that I'd gotten up to that point. And when I was on that trip, I realized happiness can be found in the little things and everyday life, and just the simplest things. You don't need all this big stuff. Yeah. It was a weird epiphany trip. I can't explain it. It was the best time of my life. And I had always been chasing that, and it came back, and, everything happened with the job, and then the redirection. And then now I'm here, and I'm dating somebody. And I was like, well, I got to get back to St. John, got to go back to St. John. Tried to convince him to go, never wanted to go. We went down before Irma and Maria was his first trip down there. And we took some friends down there. Within 45 minutes, my husband was hooked. And he was like, I can't explain it. And it's just, nobody cares who you are. It doesn't, you have no status down there. It's, are you a good person?
Yeah.
Are you doing what's right at the end of the day? Are you treating others the way you want to be treated? And that's it. And you just enjoy life, the little moments, the rain, the sunshine, anything that there is, that's what you do. And you enjoy it. And it's just a feeling. Some people get it and some people don't. We've taken people down there, and they're like, take it or leave it. It's fine. It's not my thing. But man, there's nothing better than that place.
Did you honeymoon there too?
No, we went to, because he hadn't gone there yet. We did the all-inclusive Dominican Republic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep.
And so as often as you can go.
As often as we can go.
And maybe your big anniversaries and stuff like that.
Yeah.
How long have you been married now?
So we will be married 12 years this December. Just turned 40 back in February. So we went down there, and then we've got a trip in October with Jack. And so we're taking Jack. This will be his second trip. He calls it the big pool. He loves it. And it's just, it's a simple way of life.
Yeah.
Just to get out there, and then you just appreciate everything.
That's neat.
It is.
Good for you.
Yep.
I wonder if that's something, a little bit of you, the psychology of, hey, when you're from Hilton Head or Myrtle Beach and all that, it's like, that's like, a lot of people like that and they crave that. And but if you're kind of around it, then it's like, I want to go do something else.
Yeah.
Get me out of here. Right. And then maybe the flip side, maybe they're like, this is so boring. I can't wait to go to Myrtle Beach or Hilton.
Right.
I'm just saying Myrtle because I went there a lot and growing up, but like, when some people want the commercialized thing and they want the seafood dinner and they want the go-karts, I don't know, like,
the putt-putt and all that.
And,
No, we just like the simple,
good,
the relaxing, and just, gosh, there's so much time in a day. And then you get back here and it's okay.
Yeah.
Why are we fighting the busyness? And that's something that I've really worked on.
Are you afraid that you'll go and not come back?
Oh, I hope that's going to happen. We know it's going to happen. And I think our family knows it's going to happen. We want to sail down there. We say when Jack is no longer a liability and he's an asset. So we think that's probably about middle school age.
Okay.
And do a liveaboard. If we last a year, if we last 10 years, hey, that's fine.
Well, you kind of tipped your hand when you were graduating and couldn't find a job and told your mom, basically, I'm going to a place like St. John's. I'm just going to open a restaurant. Or
I had no idea it was
right?
there. Yeah, I had no idea.
Maybe that's what happened to you all.
Yeah.
What happened to Marie?
Yeah.
Well, go check St. John's first.
It's great. So many people look at us and they're like, why? And I go, when you find something you love, you can't explain it. And I don't have to explain it to you. Different strokes for different folks, man. I know. Just enjoy that. But I mean, if we do it and we last 6 months, at least we can say we tried it.
Yeah. I always say like alma maters. We talked about, you're a Georgia fan and stuff. And like, there's certain people where it comes across as if like, I'm sorry, am I supposed to live in Gainesville, Florida. Like everyone in this world has to be like a Florida fan. Like that's essentially the attitude you're showing me, is that everyone else can go to hell because don't live in Gainesville and we're not Florida Gator fans. Like that's essentially like,
that's how some people feel though.
And, or even our country now of like, everyone is so wrong. Like, well, there are other teams, you know, we should be able to enjoy sport and all that. Are you a golfer? Did you play golf?
I tried to.
You tried to?
I tried to. No, I didn't. Yeah. I mean,
the Masters
probably embarrassed.
Right I love the Masters.
I would love to be able to go. I mean, there's just something.
Oh, you haven't been yet?
The Heritage. No, you know, the Heritage was down there in Harbortown. And so we love that. But gosh.
I mean, I'm not trying to offend you, but the Heritage is no Augusta National.
No, it's not. And neither is the BMW Pro-Am. But, you know, I got to meet Wayne Gretzky there. And that was really cool. And Don Felder. Seeing these guys come.
Davis Love III. He loves that course down there.
Well, you know, when they come up and it's like, oh gosh, these are celebrities. Heck no, they are just average Joes, and they're terrible golfers too. Some of them.
Oh yeah.
You know, for the pro-ams.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, oh, they are, you know, Shannon Sharp and all them, but it's hilarious just to see them. Yeah. And name another sport where drinking a Bloody Mary or a beer at 7 a.m. is acceptable.
I know. It's like you ever go to Vegas or somewhere and you wake up to go get breakfast and these degenerates are still gambling and like people hook up to their oxygen machines or like smoking. Like it's 7 a.m.
Yeah, let it go.
Like what? Okay, I'm supposed to love people, but like you guys are like, ugh. Anyway. Well, thanks so much for coming in.
Absolutely.
Any shout outs or final thoughts?
You know, I guess anybody who knows me, I just do what's right? It doesn't matter what industry you're in or what you're doing. Just find something that makes you happy, you know, and follow that and chase that. And don't be afraid of redirection, right? And switching gears. It's all about adaptability and flexibility nowadays. I think so long it was ingrained in us. You have to do this and this is your way in life and you have to stay this course until it's time to retire or until it's time to do something else. But man, when you just ride the lightning or you just ride whatever wave you want to ride, just embrace everything. And then also, you know, don't get stuck to the calendar, right? You have this busyness is a terrible thing that you have to fight against. But when you can fight against busyness and appreciate the little things, we're having the best time.
You know, I've learned it's like vacation stuff and stuff that my wife, we try to do is, you know, it's one thing to go like on a cruise or somewhere where you have to, like, there's an itinerary in a way. But like when we go places now, and you haven't been to Key West yet, right?
No. Oh, we want to.
You got to go to Dry Tortugas.
Okay. And
you have to. You have to
fly or boat ride.
Well, it's a ferry.
It's a ferry. I know you can go either way.
No, it's beautiful. Okay. It's a beautiful ride. It's
nice.
It's not that long, 40 minutes or something, but the water is just beautiful, and you'll just enjoy the ride on a boat, right? You're like to sail, you like to be on the water, don't fly.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're going to go all the way to Key West, you got to do it. But we try to like say, can we just not worry about what we're going to do?
Yeah.
Like even when we went to Nashville, like we do these, let's just go and we'll look up something and let's just take it as it comes.
Yep.
You know, and we can have an idea of some things to do, but let's not over stress us with, we have to do this, we have to do that. Like, and we always end up having a great time wherever we go. Even we went to New Mexico last year because my son wanted to see like stars, and we drove like 3 hours into the middle of New Mexico to like see the most, you know, star coverage or whatever.
Nice.
The lack of light pollution, but a lot of that we're like, let's just go try this and let's go try that, because it just makes the vacation more fun.
Yeah. Well, and then
choose your own adventure.
And you have the life that you don't need a vacation from too.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, don't be so busy that you need a break and you think the vacation is going to fix the break.
No.
Because it's not. It's the stuff's still going to be there.
Yeah.
You know, and the power of saying no. And there's so many different one-offs with that. But yeah, just do your own thing and be yourself. I think that's.
All right. I'm going to make you think about something.
Yeah.
Whenever it is, and it's your time to sign off. What's like the last sentences you want to leave people when it's all over for Marie on the air?
When it's all over for me.
How are you going to sign off?
You know, it'd be crazy to think I haven't thought about that, you know, and what would you tell the team? And it's just to be yourself and to do what's right, no matter where you are in life. And I mean, I'd say that, and it's easier said than done, but it's just embracing who you are and accepting who you are And don't be afraid of that.
Yeah.
Right? Follow your passions. But at the end of the day, as long as you are true to yourself and you do your best, you are yourself, and you do what's right, you can't go wrong.
Yeah. Thanks so much for coming in. It's great to spend some time with you.
It's been fun.
And all the best to you and Jack and Joel. All the best to you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Take care.